Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into a really fascinating stack of source material. It's a collection of personal dream journals, along with interpretations, and they seem to map out this path for, well, psychological integration and pretty rapid personal growth.
It really is remarkable stuff.
Hmm.
We're looking at these entries that, they blend serious psychoanalysis, think Jung, Freud,
Yeah.
but then mix it with what the user calls ancient dragon wisdom.
Right, and all seen through this, like, surprisingly modern lens of software engineering and IT problem solving. It's quite the mix.
That combination is exactly what's interesting.
Yeah, so our mission here is to try and pull out the core method. We want to find the patterns, see how this person's subconscious mind, when they're lucid, how it's tackling these huge internal conflicts and reaching a state of wholeness.
And often with results you can actually see in their work life almost immediately.
Yeah,
We're hunting for those, let's say, surprising shortcuts to mastery.
exactly. So we're going chronologically through these moments of, well, profound clarity, but also dealing with the inner critic, the struggles.
And looking at the symbols the mind uses to unlock these powerful new abilities.
Ultimately, we're trying to figure out how this inner journey kind of validates and maybe even speeds up external success.
Okay, let's get into it.
So let's unpack this, starting at the top, right? The goal seems to be achieving this state of, like, sustained, almost transcendent peace.
Right. When we talk about integration, it's not just, feeling a bit less stressed. These entries describe states of really high consciousness. It sounds like a complete rewiring of the self, almost.
We definitely have to start with that February 3rd entry, the one describing the state as feet on the ground, head in heaven. That sounds like a major breakthrough.
Oh, absolutely. And the description is, well, profound. The dreamer is lucid, fully aware they're asleep, but they're immersed in incredible light and this energy they call love and bliss.
Okay,
But here's the crucial bit for our analysis. The effect on the rational mind. It was totally at ease and calm.
That's huge.
And it wasn't just a flash in the pan. The positive feelings, that calm, it lasted for hours after waking up.
So if the subconscious can deliver that kind of lasting peace, it really points to a fundamental realignment, doesn't it? But to understand the language here, maybe we should quickly touch on that recurring idea, the ancient dragon wisdom. What do the sources mean by that?
Good point. So the sources use the dragon archetype, but it's more than just a figure. It's symbolic. It represents the deepest, most primal, unconscious force, the source of immense power, wisdom, and crucially, integration.
Okay.
So when the analytical self manages to align with this primal energy, the sources call that Draconic equilibrium.
Draconic equilibrium. Got it. And we see that equilibrium perfectly when the spiritual side merges with their tech world, right? Like in the Ocean of Bliss dream from January 24th. That one sounds almost contradictory on the surface.
That entry is like the perfect example of psychological integration in action. The dreamer was simultaneously solving a really complex programming problem and immersed in this ocean of light, love, bliss.
At the same time, how does that work?
Well, the experience didn't distract from the logic puzzle. It actually seemed to enhance it. The notes say the mind was extraordinarily clear.
So the takeaway isn't just spiritual experiences feel good. It's that getting into this integrated, blissful state, this draconic equilibrium, might actually be the fastest way to get past mental blocks and find clarity on, say, a technical problem.
Exactly. The ultimate mental hack is inner peace.
Huh.
The internal noise just disappears. And the solution isn't something you fight for. It's just received. If you connect that to the bigger picture, it shows that when the rational mind and the spiritual self stop battling for control, they actually become way more effective together. Partners, not rivals.
And the key to holding it all together seems to be awareness. Even in earlier lucid dreams, like that one from October 2024, Flying Over Ocean, the dreamer was practicing dual awareness. Conscious they were dreaming while controlling breathing and energy flow.
Yes, that active participation seems vital. Lucidity seems to be the prerequisite for all of this.
Being an active participant in your inner world.
That control is key. Look at the initiation experience from January 22nd. The user describes merging the energy of this dragon guide, Zoraya, with the energy of humanity into a singularity. It's described as beyond the limits of language.
Whoa.
Which tells us the unconscious integration process has moved into territory the rational mind can't easily map. But the effect of that unified awareness instantly felt.
So it sounds like consciously taking the steering wheel inside your own mind is the first really critical step towards this kind of deep alignment.
Seems that way.
Okay, moving on chronologically. We have to talk about the inevitable conflict, right? The sticky parts.
hmm The subconscious doesn't just hand out bliss passes. It really forces the dreamer to confront whatever they're trying to avoid.
Often with a surprising sense of humor, it seems.
Definitely. This is where we see the shadow,
Hmm.
the rejected bits of the self-demanding to be integrated.
And the Four Directions Temple dream from February 10th is just the perfect, almost comical example of resistance.
It's so visual and instructional. The dreamer sees this magical temple, clearly symbolizing some deep inner work needed, and basically thinks, nope, not dealing with that today.
Uh-huh, yeah. Been there.
So they try to walk away, goes east, temple pops up, tries west, same thing, north, south. Doesn't matter. The temple just keeps reappearing right in front of them.
It's like the dream world itself is bending reality just to say, hey, you need to deal with this.
It perfectly illustrates that avoidance just blocks your energy. The self has this innate drive towards wholeness, and you can't really outrun it.
The temple's persistence is the subconscious going, the only way out is through. Acceptance, not escape.
Exactly.
But what's really fascinating is how that pattern of resistance and struggle completely contrasts with other dreams where there's effortless success,
Yeah.
both physical and mental.
Yes. It suggests mastery isn't about fighting harder, it's about inner alignment.
Let's look at the obstacle course dream, February 1st. The dreamer easily jumps a 5-foot ledge on a skateboard, runs up roller coaster tracks.
Describing it as just like in my younger days. And they note it felt like the culmination of 4 years of exercise finally paying off.
Okay, wait, I need to pause on that. That sounds like a contradiction. It felt effortless, but it was the result of 4 years of effort. How do these sources square that?
That's actually the core lesson here, and it's really important. The 4 years of effort weren't about straining or struggle in that moment.
Hmm.
They were about building the internal capability.
Okay.
So when that capability becomes fully integrated, when the body and mind are aligned with the action, the effort shifts. It's not external striving against something anymore. It becomes internal being.
Ah, I see.
The action feels effortless because the energy is already there, aligned. The body is simply capable, no resistance.
So effortlessness isn't about no effort having ever happened. It's about a lack of resistance in the moment of action. The grind built the capacity.
Precisely. It's a lack of internal friction.
That makes a lot more sense.
And that theme of being carried by a natural, unstoppable force, it shows up really dramatically in the earth and water wave dream from January 31st. A huge cliff collapses, representing some necessary breakdown maybe. But the dreamer isn't hurt.
Right.
Instead, they get carried over the collapsed cliff exactly where they wanted to go by this enormous, like 100-foot wave of earth and water.
Wow, that's a powerful image for destiny. Or maybe just trusting the process.
It feels like the subconscious validating that even chaos or destructive change can be part of your path, aligned with your purpose, if you stop fighting the waves.
Surrender to the flow, even if it looks like destruction initially.
And this non-resistance idea applies just as much to intellectual challenges. We see that clearly in the programming dream example from January 8th.
Right, the one where the complex technical solution only showed up after the dreamer consciously achieved silence and clear mind.
Yeah. It confirms that just pushing harder mentally, that aggressive striving, is often the wrong approach.
True problem solving seems to be about cultivating internal peace first, creating the space for the solution to emerge.
It links the stillness you might find in meditation directly to technical skill, which is fascinating.
Clarity through stillness. That seems to be the bridge between the rational and the spiritual sides here.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move into the third main theme we picked out, the symbolic guidance, the archetypes and keys the subconscious uses to give direction. We've already talked about the dragon as the symbol of primal power and integration, but it seems to evolve, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. That initial experience with the dragon guide Zariah back in January was very formal, almost ritualistic, an initiation. But later, like in the Land of Dragons dream from September 2024, the feeling changes. The dreamer realizes the dragons aren't these distant, stern authorities anymore. They're described as united, telling jokes, flying together in harmony.
So the interpretation shifts from formal spiritual authority to something more like collective connection, unity within the self.
Precisely. It becomes less about hierarchy and more about embodying that unified, powerful, even playful energy internally.
That's a cool evolution. But maybe the most practical, like directly actionable advice comes from that Buddha and surfing dream,
Yeah.
January 20th.
Oh, definitely. That one directly addressed the dreamer's feeling of lacking confidence, especially in external situations.
Right, they were focused on the waves, feeling defeated.
Yeah, looking outside for the problem and the solution. And Buddha's communication, which was silent, intuitive, went straight to the heart of internal power. The message was essentially, if you want to surf again, you need to bring your energy from the inside to the outside. Stop trying to do it the other way around.
That's huge. It's saying external success isn't about perfectly reading the situation out there. It's about generating the feeling, the power, the confidence inside first, and then projecting it outward.
Exactly. And the entry says the effect was immediate. That realization led to instant, effortless mastery of the waves.
Wow.
So confidence becomes an internal resource you deploy, not something you wait for the world to give you.
That's incredibly useful. And what I find really brilliant is how these sources consistently link this deep, symbolic spiritual wisdom back to the dreamer's actual real-world professional goals. Like the imagery around the majestic tree dream from January 4th.
Right. The majestic tree clearly represents deep, unconscious wisdom. And in the dream, it merges with images of an archer aiming at a bullseye.
And the dreamer's own last name, Fletcher, which means arrow maker.
The symbolism couldn't be much clearer, could it?
Not really. It's like the archer, your conscious will, your strategic mind, is kind of useless without the arrow maker, the Fletcher, your deep inner source of power and skill.
And the target, the bullseye, only really matters when it's aligned with and illuminated by that deep wisdom, the tree.
It totally validates the idea that this inner journey isn't separate from external goals. It's fundamental to achieving them.
Yes, the sources even explicitly state that certain projects, like this recurring Project Harmony, are felt to be in alignment with the universe. When you integrate yourself internally, your external purpose finds its path more easily, effortlessly even.
So wrapping this section up, the core method that seems to emerge from this whole journey from the bliss states to fighting the temple, it really seems to be about embracing the dualities, right? And learning to leverage the power of the unconscious mind.
Absolutely. As that embracing the dualities entry from September 30th puts it quite plainly, you can't have one without the other. You have to embrace both.
Yeah.
The spiritual and the rational, failure and success, chaos and peace, they're all necessary parts of the journey towards becoming whole. Integration needs all the pieces. #outro.
Okay, so to quickly synthesize this whole deep dive into maybe a working methodology for you, the listener, these sources seem to confirm that rapid psychological integration starts with cultivating lucidity, consciously taking the wheel in your inner world.
And that lucidity is absolutely essential for then confronting and integrating the shadow, like that unavoidable temple dream. You have to face what you're avoiding.
Right. But while that confrontation is needed, real mastery, the effortless kind, isn't achieved through just gritting your teeth and pushing harder.
No, it seems to come from prioritizing internal clarity and peace, allowing that sense of alignment to carry you forward, like the wave dream.
It really confirms that deep personal growth is this traceable, measurable, internal journey. Almost like self-engineering.
It is a form of engineering applied to the self, in a way.
Huh.
Tracking patterns, integrating systems.
And the final insight we pulled, the one that really ties it all together into achieving stability, comes from that recurring Tides of Life dream, October 8th. The dreamer realized you can't control the tide of life.
But what you can do is dive deep within the ocean, and the tides of life will not affect you.
That really feels like the definition of true integrated peace, doesn't it? Where external chaos just can't get to your core.
Exactly. That internal equilibrium remains stable, regardless of the surface waves.
So as you reflect on this deep dive and all these paradoxes we explored, the effort leading to effortlessness, the bliss solving code problems, maybe consider this. What single external tide in your own life, that thing you're frantically trying to control, what if you stop trying so hard to control it today and instead just try diving deep within the ocean of yourself?
Something to definitely ponder, and maybe even practice until our next deep dive.
We'll see you next time.